The CCSD21 February 22nd, 2024 regular board meeting is called to order. So we have attendance, please.
Debbie?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
I am here. Stacy?
Yes.
Arlen?
Here.
Dagmara?
Here.
Phil?
Here.
And Brandon? You are here with no mic, okay. Mario is not yet here, and Aaliyah, I understand, is on her way, so I will leave her blank for right now, but we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Everybody, please join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone to the meeting. I would see of our public officials, I see our good friend Sherry Klump from the Park District is here. Welcome, as always. I don't think I'm missing anyone else. Anybody physically present at the meeting who wishes to address the board, please complete a comment card, which is on the table back there behind Ms. Del Real, and then hand it to her. Anyone online, there it is, must complete the comment form, and written public comments may also be submitted to us via email. We'll start with the board communication. We start off with the policy committee. We met on January 31st. We went over 32 different policies. We spent just a little over an hour discussing them. Nothing earth-shaking or anything, and if anyone has any questions, we'll approve the first reading in the consent agenda, and then next month we will do the second reading and approve them at that time. If anyone has any questions, please contact me or Bill or Jessica. Then we go into NSSEO, and I have three things there. First of all, effective on July 1st, Molly Dunn will have the new title of Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, which is a role she's essentially been doing and is now being officially made into that role, and she will be fantastic, I am sure. I need to send out a thank you to their maintenance department. Something told one of them that they, when we had all the bitter cold weather in January and freezing and pipes breaking, that somebody needed to get over there, and they actually showed up right after the pipes broke, before the alarms even went off, and they were cleaning up broken pipes in that building on the second floor. So we had a big shout out to them. And the last thing is, if anyone is interested in doing their foundation bingo, you've gotten I believe Leticia forwarded everything, and if you are interested in attending, it's a lot of fun, supports their foundation, it's a great cause, it's their biggest fundraiser. If you want to go, just let me know and I can forward the link to you also. So now we are going on to EdRed, which is Bill.
Thank you, Debbie. First off, Fritz Kagi, the Cook County Assessor, spoke at the February meeting and discussed the need for school districts to intervene in property tax appeals. This is not only an issue of protecting our tax base, but also to maintain fairness among property taxpayers. There was also a request to pass a resolution supporting common sense TIF reform, and we will be discussing that under new business later tonight. Bridget provided a legislative update of particular interest due to our prior conversations. HB 4709 was introduced, which would require school district approval to use a school building as a polling place. So we'll see how that goes. As of that meeting, there was no opposition, and as Bridget said, yet. EdRed's next member meeting will be held here on March 1st at 1:30. EdRed also has two new events planned. On Wednesday, April 10th, there is a planned Advocacy Day in Springfield. And on June 12th, EdRed is hosting a mini summit. Think of it as a half day of seminars with a general session speaker, hosting it with the Lake County ROE at Vernon Hills High School. More information on both events are to come. And that's it for Ed Red.
Oh, okay, thank you, Bill. Next is North Cook.
Can I do an Ed Red update?
Oh, yes, I missed that line. I'm sorry.
Just real quick here. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my board docs here. I attended the the committee meetings for full-day kindergarten and transportation last week for Ed Red. On full-day kindergarten, just a brief update. The statewide task force has met twice now, but per Bridget, there doesn't seem to be much in the way of progress. I mean, no judgment, but this is an accelerated task force timeline they're working with. They're supposed to file their report in June of this year, but they're not getting ISB data on full-day kindergarten until the end of March. And at least per Bridget, it doesn't seem like they've progressed beyond the here's the issues stage. It's really sort of a wait and see what they're going to do. Other than, honestly, anything other than give school districts more funding, which might resolve the referendum obstacles. There's still obviously space and staffing issues at many districts. And also with the governor's focus on early childhood, which I think we can all agree is awesome, we're concerned about the likelihood of a gap then between early childhood and kindergarten if the full-day kindergarten issues aren't resolved or resolvable on everyone's timeline. And that might result in a number of school districts who have to file waivers for noncompliance. But again, we'll wait and see what happens. Perhaps there's magic in the mix. On the Transportation Committee meeting, slightly less dismal news. There's a number of bills that were filed this session, so we just went through the status of the top movers. And there's one that seems to be really only affecting CPS. And I understand our very own Michael DeBartolo will be attending one of our committee meetings to go over some contracts issues for us, so thank you in advance for that. So we're talking about EV buses, grant possibilities, zero emissions plans, grandfather clauses for some school districts whose buses were manufactured after a certain date, and I think she mentioned a bus seatbelts bill, but I might have misheard that because it doesn't make sense. I'll leave my other updates for a later time, but that was sort of the crux of what we talked about.
Thank you. Then next on the agenda is IASB. Bill.
Okay, thank you again. IASB's North Cook Division Spring Dinner Meeting will be held on Wednesday, February 28th, that's this upcoming Wednesday, at Elizabeth Meyer School, 8100 Tripp Avenue, Skokie. Elizabeth Meyer is a pre-K and kindergarten building in District 73.5. The topic of the evening's presentation is Understanding and Addressing the Educator Shortage in Illinois and in Your Region. And the presenters will be Dr. Erica Hunt, Director, Lead Hub at ROE 17, and Senior Researcher Tom Withy of Goshen Consulting. Last week, I had the opportunity to meet with IASB's new Executive Director, Kimberly Small, new Deputy Executive Director, Jeremy Duffy, and new Associate Executive Director of Governmental Relations, Sarah Miller. We discussed TIF reform, the Advocacy Ambassador Program, and promoting advocacy by school board members. I will be participating in the Advocacy Ambassador Program with our next meeting to be held on March 1st. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is North Cook. Arlen?
Good evening, everybody. I have actually nothing new to report on North Cook. I did report extensively last month after our quarterly board meeting.
Okay. Then we'll stick with you for
Right.
708 board.
There I have a little bit. 708 board itself has really come together, very unified in its opinion that they need to move this project forward, and they're trying to plan a path forward to move to be able to fund the legislation working with Wheeling Township, which is their only option at this time. Vernon Township is doing a lot of good things, and that's exciting to see as a counterbalance. And if I can just mention a couple of things not on that, and that is that I did get to tour Hawthorne in the last couple of weeks. Very amazing to see the new space, which I had not seen before. I was at a financial meeting at Cooper last night and also attended a fabulous concert at Frost I think 2 weeks ago. It was just absolutely mind-blowing. So thank you to all our staff for all the things that they are doing.
Okay, thank you very much. Stacy, did you have anything?
I just have an update from the Chamber of Commerce Board. Thank you to Dr. Conley, Leticia, and Cass for allowing us to host our monthly board meeting here this past month. The Village of Wheeling, the Wheeling Park District, and the Chamber of Commerce are hosting a blood drive at AMVETS this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They are really hoping to, I think Culver's is throwing an incentive for anybody that comes in. They're hoping to have 30 pints total to donate. So there's information on the Chamber of Commerce website. And Michael will be emailing Cass some information tomorrow about the blood drive just to get the information out. There's a business after hours next week at the Westtown Bakery, same night as the dinner, but it starts at 5 o'clock. And then just a big congratulations to all of our music teachers that had kids in solo and ensemble a couple of weeks ago. I had the opportunity to be there, and for both orchestra and for voice. And it was just great to see all of our District 21's kids showcased in solo and ensemble, and from what I understand, everybody did pretty well. That's all I have.
Awesome, thank you. Phil, you had something?
Yeah, I have two quick things I'd just like to share. Last week, I received an email from Dr. Nakia Hall, who is the Associate Executive Director for Equity and Field Services, letting me know that she had resigned her position. And so as it was, as it is, and as it will continue to be, IESB down in Springfield has a transition in process. So I just wanted to share that. I've known Nakia for quite some time when she was at Three Rivers Division. She was a board member for 10 years at Crete-Monee School District. So our paths crossed quite a bit during my time down there as well. So it's going to be a loss for the association. She was a strong talent. Sorry to hear that she was moving on. The other thing, having been on the board as long as I have sort of the, I guess the attractive position of sharing other transitions as well. A good friend and a dedicated public servant in District 214 for 14 years, and as a Mount Prospect Library trustee, Bill Blaine passed away in December 31st of last year. I had known Bill for over 20 years, especially during his time as a District 214 board member. Always a very even-keeled, very much a supporter of public education, good governance, and so forth. Mm-hmm. Even when he moved away from our area here to be with his grandchildren really, in Virginia, he decided to enter becoming a school board again, and served another 12 years with the Spotsylvania School District in Northern Virginia. So for those that knew Bill, over the years, I don't know of anyone who ever had a negative thing to say. He was just a dedicated and unselfish public servant, and he will be missed.
Thank you.
He will. I knew him well and worked with him, and just a great guy. It's really sad I didn't know that.
Okay, Dagmar, did you have anything?
Nope.
And Jessica, anything else?
I would just like to ask everyone to join me in a quick shout out to our very own Brandon, who last night at the London Choral Concert not only performed beautifully with the other singers, but also performed a flute solo to Being Green, which I posit is one of the best songs ever. So just, again, you're just really an incredible performer. You've come a long way through middle school, and it was really neat to see you perform last night.
Deb, a couple of things are you going to go to government agencies now?
That's how I was going to come back with you and Bill, yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So a couple of things. One, I've continued, and I know Bill has too, our advocacy with local legislators. I had breakfast with Stacy Katz-Mule last week. I have breakfast coming up with Senator Ann Gillespie, just talking about education issues in general at the state level. And there's some interesting legislation bouncing around in Springfield, so we'll keep our eyes on those. We don't need to discuss it today. But, and then the other thing is in Arlington Heights, despite what you're reading, there's been no deals with the Bears. There is no deal on the table with the Bears with Arlington Heights. Unfortunately, school districts are getting a bad rap for fighting for all of the taxpayers, as Bill so clearly said earlier tonight, that they're protecting everybody, because the less money that comes out of the Bears, it means other people will have to pay higher taxes. So the school districts are doing the right thing. We're not part of that, of course, but District 214 and 15 and 211. So, but there's been a lot of bantering that there's been a deals cut, and I can guarantee there is no deal yet in Arlington Heights.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Bill, did you have anything else? No, you're good? Okay, thank you. Then next we have a report from our student representatives for Dr. Connolly.
Absolutely. So good evening, everybody. This month, we asked our student representatives to talk a little bit about, sorry, getting to the right slide here. What is something that makes their school unique or special? And then to add in any other updates that they'd like to provide. So Mario, Brandon, who wants to go first? All right.
So something that makes Holmes Middle School unique is the size and like the community at Holmes. So like even though we're the middle school with like the smallest amount of like enrollment, I just feel like there's a really close community of like friends and students in the building. And also some of the updates are that like we're like just about like halfway done, and solo and ensemble just happened. And I know some people that like did really well. And I just want to add on that I know most of my friends and I are really excited but nervous for finishing 8th grade, because it's a big moment and high school's next. So yeah.
Good evening. Well, something that makes London very special and unique is our very own principal, Mrs. Netzel. I believe she is a big reason as to why she makes London very special. She's very outgoing and special, always has a smile on her face when we see her in her hallways. She's also very supportive of our after-school activities. So as the board said, we had our choir concert last night, and Ms. Netzel was there, happy to introduce everyone. And I believe that this, along with the staff of London, is a very key role as to what makes London London. But behind the scenes, the janitors do help clean up the school and make a fresh look every single day to make sure London is the staff feel welcomed. Those are just a few key things that make London very special. Some other updates that has happened at London was as Mario said, our solo ensemble. I was able to participate for vocal and for band. I was able to do well with my group and my solo. We also had our Winter Wonderfest at London. So it was in the evening. The school was open for adults and children to come and students to come and do a different activity. So one section we had crafts area, another section we had a game area, and in the cafeteria they held a fundraiser for hot chocolates, and there was some free pizza for everyone there. We also had our London lock-in not too long ago, earlier this month. I think that was really well. A bunch of students from all grades came and enjoyed it a lot. We also had our 8th grade graduation pictures, so it was a great experience. So 8th grade's coming to an end, unfortunately. And what happened this past weekend was that we went to Washington, D.C. We were able to travel to Washington safely and return safely. We were able to have a bunch of sightseeing and able to go on a bunch of tours. But that is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon, what was your favorite part of the city?
I think the Air and Space Museum was very awesome, and being able to go inside the Capitol was awesome as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Very good, very good. Aaliyah is trying to get here. Apparently, there was a late volleyball bus, so you know we've got busy representatives trying to do a lot of different things. So, if it's okay, what I'd like to do is kind of give her an opportunity to see if she can get here, and then we can circle back to her report.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if for some reason she's not able to join us, I'll read her report, towards the end of the meeting. So, but. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Our actual next Superintendent Student Advisory Committee meeting is tomorrow. So looking forward to seeing you guys again and having some good conversations with middle school students from all three of our middle schools. So looking forward to that.
Awesome. That's actually, this weekend, my Facebook memories were both of my children going to DC, and my youngest was able to be one of the people that was putting the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. So hearing you had a good time, it's like it brings back a lot of memories. So definitely, yeah, send your kid.
Yeah, okay, I've already been told.
Yes. Definitely a lifetime's worth of memories. So next we are on to staff communications.
Yes, thank you. So we have want to start off, and we have several announcements and celebrations that we want to start off with. And first, a couple weeks ago, actually in this room, the district's 21 Spelling Bee was hosted. And so I wanted to introduce Amy Breiler, our Director of Literacy, and Dr. Rob Drury, who is our Literacy Equity Coach at Cooper, to talk about the Spelling Bee and our winners.
Good evening. I am really pleased to come and talk to you tonight and have Dr. Drury with me tonight. A couple of weeks ago, we were in this room with over 100 people in attendance, as well as 27 students that Rob will talk about in a little bit. But a couple of years ago, Rob came to me as we were talking about the talents within all of the students within District 21 and the opportunities that we have for students, and asked to begin a spelling bee here for the middle school. So for 2 years, we ran a 6th through 8th grade spelling bee with a small but ferocious group of students. And then this year, we extended it to 4th through 8th grade and had over 250 participants. 4th through 8th grade. Our library media specialists from the elementaries ran the spelling bees in the elementaries, and some of them were very highly competitive. They ran 3 to 4 lunch periods in order to find a grand champion at the district or at the school level. Our middle school staff worked as both judges at the district bee as well as running the bees in the middle school. So a big thank you to all of them who helped support those school bees as well. And then I'm going to turn it over to Rob, who was the real MC of the evening, and let him talk to you a little bit about what happened in the evening, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much, Amy. Good evening, board members, administrators, Dr. C. So yes, we had 27 students coming, so that's 1 student per grade from 4th through 8th in this room, competing for, as it says, 20 rounds, although I start to lose count after a couple of words because I'm just kind of locked in and in the zone. It doesn't say up there, but it did take almost 2 hours, which is the longest bee I've ever been a part of. And if 2 hours doesn't sound long to you, you think, oh, a football game is 3.5 hours, NCAA basketball game is 2.5. There's no media timeouts, there's no halftime show. It is just pure and unbridled competition for all that time. And I mean pure both in the sense of it is really wholesome and fun, but also pure in the sense of it is completely agonizing if you miss a word. There is no chance to reset the ride, and you just kind of have to get off the stage and say what could have been, and the litany of words just continues to go on. So very exciting, very intense, very fun competition. And I was very glad when Amy and Julie had the idea last year to expand to 4th and 5th grade. And we have some of those students here tonight to recognize for being some of our top finishers. So our first place finisher, Will Citron from Cooper Middle School, cannot be with us tonight, but he will be representing the school at the next stage of the competition. So he wants to do his best to represent us there. I'll talk about where that goes in just a minute. but he was eighth grade finisher at Cooper, or competitor from Cooper, and what that means is the door's open for next year. So after eighth grade, obviously the kids are no longer in D21, but that's as old as you can be to compete in a spelling bee. So any one of these kids, any one of the other 26 kids who competed, could be the one next year who takes the crown. But in second place, I believe we have here tonight Nina from Poe, our fifth grader. So again, like I said, the door is open. Nina is a fifth grader, and she bested a couple of other eighth graders, seventh graders, and sixth graders. Couldn't manage to shake Will in the very end, but it was a very, very close competition. And then in third place from London, we have Mason, I believe is here tonight as well. So congratulations to Mason as well for the third place finish. Again, seventh grader at London, so maybe next year will be his year. Again, Will was the one moving on to the 14th annual North Cook ISC Script Spelling Bee competition, Wednesday, March 13th at Lincoln Hall in Lincolnwood, where it depends on how many districts sends kids each year. It could be as 12 to 15, maybe 18 spellers from all across North Cook County. So he'll be representing D21 in doing that. If he is the top 3 finisher there, he goes to the all Cook County minus Chicago spelling bee, and if he were to win the all Cook County bee, he would go to nationals. And 2 years ago, we had a speller who was 4th place at the all Cook County bee. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for Will. I know he's studying hard every day, and I hope he also does well to represent the district at the bee.
I just wanted to add, I attended the spelling bee. It was phenomenal. Congratulations to our winners. I know it was intense, it was emotional, it was fun, it was exciting, it was everything. Additionally, I wanted to say thank you for coordinating it. It was very successful. I'm excited that it was expanded to the lower grades, and I look forward to this being a tradition in our district that we look forward to annually. So thank you so much for the work.
You're very welcome, and likewise, I can't wait to see what next year holds. And some of that thanks also goes to Amy Brother, who helped me immensely with the lower grade levels. So
The one other point, sorry, I wanted to make was, beyond the event, it created a lot of buzz and energy in the schools leading up to the big event. And I think anything we can be doing to get that excitement around language and vocabulary and all of that is such a huge win. So looking forward to maybe even additional opportunities beyond the spelling bee.
it's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cass, can you do me a favor and roll that slide back one? I just wanted to point it out, that picture. I mean, if you needed another capture of how high intense, the intensity of the competition right there, I think that guy needed a nap afterwards. So anyway, but thank you very much.
That's the Superman pose, man. That
Yes,
makes you do it better.
Absolutely.
What was the winning word?
I do know it. So that's when I was afraid you said you had one more question. I was like, okay, don't put me on the spot. Like, I don't have to know how to spell the words myself. All I have to know is I can tell you right or wrong. Anyone can do that, okay? That's not special. So I will say the winning word, and I will give a little caveat with that, because I tell this to Andy every time, because he tells me, oh, hey, can we have the winning word for the write-up that we'll do for the newsletter? I won't get too inside baseball about this, but at a certain point in the spelling bee, I have to go to a list of words that the students have not seen before, because it becomes clear that they have mastered the list of 450 words. They know the spellings and the meanings, they could do it in their sleep. And so that it doesn't become a 3.5-hour competition, I go to a list of 150 or so words that no one has seen before. And it starts out really easy. It's like, can you do cat, dog, sandwich, dolphin, something like that. And it throws you off for a bit, and that might cause you to get out. That's part by design. So we end up getting some easier words that we end up winning on than kids have studied. So the winning word was barren. It's a homophone. It means empty or devoid of vegetation, not to be confused with barren, which might be a kind of ruling class term in a European monarchy. So Will was the one who correctly spelled barren, and he had to win on a make. So he doesn't just get that one right and he wins. That was the one where someone else had spelled wrong. He spelled a word right, and he got barren in addition to that. So the word is barren, B-A-R-R-E-N. Yeah.
But again, congratulations to our student winners. So to continue our celebrations, I think everybody on the board and in our community will agree with this statement that we are blessed in this district to have a team of just incredibly dedicated principals. And we know how critical the position of principal is to all of our schools and their success. And so each year, the various regions of Illinois, and in our case, North Cook, of the Illinois Principals Association, have nominations for Principal of the Year and award Principals of the Year at each level, so elementary, middle, and then high school. We had 4 principals in District 21 that were nominated for this year's Principal of the Year. At the elementary level, we had Crystal Jimenez from Field. We had Catherine Joy from Frost and Christy Campbell, who's also here in the audience for Poe. And then in the middle school category, we had Anastasia Netzel that was nominated. And it had to have been an extremely hard decision to pick amongst the District 21 principals. I'm fairly certain, we had the top going in, right? So, but we are extremely excited to announce and recognize that Anastasia Netzel was named as Middle School Principal of the Year for North Cook for this year. And Crystal Jimenez was named Elementary School Principal of the Year for Field Element. So both Anastasia and Crystal will be recognized by their colleagues from North Cook IPA at a breakfast reception next Friday, actually. Looking forward to attending that. And both Anastasia and Crystal will now be competing for Illinois Principal of the Year through IPA, and those winners will be announced later this year. So again, just an incredibly a wonderful thing to see the number of our principals that were nominated for this honor, and to have our 2 winners this year. And I want to point out that Dr. Shapiro at Twain was elementary principal of the year last year. So for over 2 years, we've had 3 principals of the year for North Cook. So that's just an amazing achievement and well deserved. So once again, congratulations. But wait, there's more. We are not done celebrating. Each year, the Illinois State Board of Education has an awards program that is called Those Who Excel. And as a district, we have had a number of our staff that have been recognized with a Those Who Excel award, and there's different classifications within that program. But this year, we are extremely proud of the fact that we have 4 of our members of our faculty who have been honored with an award of special recognition within the Those Who Excel program. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kim Klein to say a few words about them and introduce them.
Okay, thank you. They changed the format of the nomination process, and so it's really awkward to reach out to someone and say, hey, I'd really like to nominate you for this recognition. Will you please fill out the form and nominate yourself? So I appreciate that they followed through with that, and would really, am really proud of the work of these staff members. Like Dr. Conley said, it's the award of special recognition, and that's for their ability to connect with their school community and how they've made a positive impact. And so I want to start with Abby Pillow and Jamie Steinecke, who are 2 of the teachers on the team. Brenda Thiessen is not here tonight, but they are our educational life skills teachers. They have worked at Riley, they have worked at London, went back to Riley, came back to London, but they have really been a cornerstone of our educational life skills programming, and the consistency for what our students receive, and they've really embraced a lot of the changes. We built beautiful life skills rooms at Riley and at London, and these professionals really embraced that. They take our kids out into the community every month. They're using that space. And I just really thank them for the consistency that they provide for our students, and just for the true professionals that they are. And Jeremy. Jeremy Holtmeyer is one of our school psychologists, and if you are in a meeting talking about data, talking about pulling data, talking about making a chart, there's probably a chance that you're going to hear Jeremy's name. He does not keep his skill set within the realm of being a school psych. His passion is really to help other people in any capacity, to help them understand how to use data, how to make it easier, while he is also amazing at running IEP meetings, connecting with parents, helping them understand what their child's strengths are and what those areas of challenge are that we want to help address. And so thank you, Jeremy, for all that you have done during my time here.
So all of our recognition, those who have gotten recognition through Those Who Excel will be invited later in the spring, I think, in May, okay, to a very large banquet that is held down in Bloomington Normal, right off the ISU campus. Really nice event where Those Who Excel award winners from all over the state are brought in to be celebrated. Generally speaking, the governor always tends to stop by, so get ready to meet him. And just a really nice program. So again, congratulations. Thank you so much for what you do for District 21 and for the students and families of our community. Let's give them another round of applause, please. Okay, so, just turned off my own microphone. That was good. So kind of moving forward with our communications this evening, I did want to ask Mr. DiBartolo to just kind of give us a brief update on where we stand with our transportation committee. So, Michael?
Hi, since the last meeting, we've only had one other meeting because Valentine's Day we did cancel to give people an opportunity to be with their families. But at the last meeting after the board meeting, we did talk about the beginning of hazardous routes and what families are looking for as far as the district either expanding or contracting based upon how we provide transportation in an equitable manner, because some of our routes may no longer be hazardous, as we've talked about, but looking at what are the parameters to continue that transportation if indeed there are still risks along those routes that may not qualify even with the discretionary points that the district can provide. Our next meeting is next Wednesday, and we will continue that conversation on hazardous routes, which has been a very full conversation to start to get a framework for how we go ahead and analyze all of the different transportation that we provide. And we are looking for paid service as a potential way, if we were to reduce hazardous routes, to then go ahead and provide service to families who still wish to have that transportation in the form that other surrounding districts do as well. So that would be, you no longer have it, but if we have space on buses, or if we have enough people with interest, we could run a route for those families if that was an option that the committee decided to recommend and that we thought First Student could provide and that we could do financially, because paid service, while it will defer some of the cost that we would take on, it also impacts our transportation claim. And while we try and deal with rising costs and everything, and a new bill that came out regarding potentially requiring to bid transportation, which is where we see the largest increases, those are all things that we're taking into consideration at this point. But the parents that have been part of the committee and participating have been a great resource to the process.
Does anyone have any questions? Bill?
Just a time frame going forward, when could we expect to hear a report from the committee?
We expect for the report to be at the April board meeting, worst case scenario at May. And one of the things that'll drive that is if we are going to make some recommendations on any changes for next year, or if we would go status quo for next year while we went ahead and investigated some of the paid service options and other impacts that hazardous routes would have.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, this evening from staff communications, I wanted to give the board an update on where we stand with our school-based health center, and specifically the advisory board that we are required to form prior to the SBHC being able to open and operate. I will start off by saying, and some of our members who were here earlier had the opportunity to go down and take a look. Those who didn't, you can. We can get you down there later on tonight. But we are, I think, ahead of schedule, but it's coming together. So the last time you were in there, it was studs. Now it's walls that have been painted. It's, the ceiling is done and closed. The doors were hung today. The flooring is in. So I think next week the cabinetry comes in.
February 29th is the expected date.
Next week.
When we know that it ships for sure, we'll have more confidence in that.
Of course, yeah. It's always tentative, right? But as the cabinetry gets in, that's really when we get to the finishing work, and we're just looks great, and just is extremely exciting to be able to get to a point of being able to open up, which of course leads us to some of the requirements that we need to meet in order to open up. First of all, I will say that Advocate has been working to staff up, so that when we are ready to open, they have staff in place. I believe they've hired their nurse practitioner. Have they gotten any other position filled, do you know?
The medical assistant and the front desk receptionist.
Okay, so the medical assistant and the front desk receptionist, all three of those positions have been filled. I know there's a social worker position that they're working to. So, that's going well. The other really kind of major requirement before we can open up is, of course, the Illinois Department of Public Health needs to, say it's okay. So that's always one of the things that we can't control, so that I'm hoping there's not a lot of hurry up and wait, that IDPH will be able to do their thing, quickly and give us the go ahead to open up. But to help them with that, we need to have our advisory board in place prior to us opening up. And so about a week ago, I shared with the board our plan for forming that board, and just to very quickly, and this is, of course, is based off of the conversation we had in the fall about some of the parameters around that. So just to very quickly recap, what I'm recommending is that we make up an advisory board made up of 13 people, that those individuals be appointed by me, but ratified by you. So little President, Senate confirmation type thing there, except no filibustering, and we're not going to have 17 hours of Senate confirmation hearings for people who are volunteering to do this. So members will enjoy an open term of service. So, they can serve as long as they are interested and willing to. If there is some reason, I can't imagine what it would be, but if there is some reason that we would need to make a change, we've kind of constructed it so that, that could be done with my recommendation and the board's action. Again, don't think that's going to be a problem, but we just wanted to make sure we had that mechanism in place. So we are going to have a number of members who are actual employees of the district, whether it be administration, school nurses, social workers, so on and so forth. So one of the things that we kind of put in there is that those members of the advisory board who are also employees, they would step down as they separate service from the district, so that they can be replaced by a staff member who is currently with us. And then just from a governance perspective, the advisory board will elect from within themselves a chairperson and a recording secretary that can, make sure that we're keeping minutes and, agendas and all that good stuff. So in terms of just kind of a rundown of appointments, obviously names to be, to come, but I'm asking Kim and Michael to be our administrators on the advisory board, Olivia Aguado, who is our public health liaison, to be Lauren Schmidt, who is our McKinney-Vento social worker, to be part of it. And then players to be named are one of our school nurses, the nurse practitioner who will be employed by Advocate will be a member of that group, a community member at large, and then parent representatives, at least one from each of the strands. Right, so a home strand parent, a London strand parent, and then a Cooper strand parent, and then a fourth kind of at-large parent. So, a total of 4 parent representatives. We're going to be reaching out to Omni Youth Services and see if they would be willing to have somebody either through Omni or through LinkedIn, Link Together, or whatever the case may be, serve on the advisory board. And then another community member who is a medical professional, either an MD or DO or somebody who may not necessarily be working for Advocate, but has that kind of medical background. So that really rounds out the membership, and we're in the process of just kind of lining up those players to be named later. But I wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity here to just kind of open it up, see if there's any questions, any concerns about process before we get too deep into it.
So I think my only question is, Wheeling has a very robust social worker system that does an enormous amount of work in the community. Arlington Heights has a very robust health department. Some of the municipalities have access to maybe people that you wouldn't have, Sherry Hoosier, and I forget the nice lady in Arlen Park and Arlington Heights, but they might be good resources to help you find some of those at-large members. And I know Kim has a great relationship with, most of the municipalities and the health opportunities that they offer their population. So that might be a good conversation starter to just see who's in the community that might be interested in those roles. I think all of those village social workers have amazing access to people that we might not think of. So that was my only thought.
Okay, good idea. Thank you.
Jessica?
Quick question with regard to the parent representatives. Will they, you said they have an open term of service, but would they sort of, with the understanding that as their children matriculate out of the district, they step down and leave a space for a parent who is currently enrolled in the district, or is that?
Yeah, I think that I didn't specifically state that, but I think that is advisable. I think that is something that we should do. Yeah.
Pros and cons, but.
Yeah, of course. But making sure that we've got current active parents, I think, is really important too. So yeah, that's a good idea.
And my only two things. One, the response I get from people as I mentioned this is just incredible. I was stopped by a neighbor of mine walking last week, and she asked how District 21 was doing. We talked in general. I mentioned we were opening the clinic, and she asked some questions, and I mentioned that Advocate was running, and she said, "Oh my God, I work for Advocate, and I'm driving all the way out to," I don't know where she said, "I'm going to apply tomorrow. This is the most exciting thing I've heard in years." So that's what I continue to hear from people. The only other comment that I would have is, from a personal perspective, I would recommend board terms just for a whole host of reasons. And I'm sure you have reasons why you want to go the other way. So but
Yeah,
it's a way to bring new blood on from time to time.
Sure. I kind of thought back and forth about that. I think that this could also evolve. It's our advisory board, right? So
Right.
if we find that we might want to make some shifts like that in the governance of it, there's nothing that precludes us from doing that. I think insofar as it is an advisory board that will meet you know, at least once, but a couple of times a year, that, you know, as long as, you know, people are willing and interested in serving, that really there's no reason not to. Now, we can also say that, okay, we're starting with 13 members. That doesn't mean we necessarily have to stay with 13 members. If we decide that we want to bring some new folks on, we expand the number of people, right? That's completely within our ability to do as well. So,
Right, but it's very, very exciting.
yeah, definitely.
Dr. Connolly, are there plans for socialization of, you know, the fact that you guys are seeking representatives, so socializing this through the parent communities or the schools? Any plans for that?
I'm not sure if I know what you mean by socializing.
So driving awareness. So if a parent
yeah.
in one of our schools is interested in saying, hey, I want to be a representative from this strand, how would they know we're even looking to find representatives at this point?
Yeah, so kind of two tracks. We have some folks that have worked with us in other capacities on different committees and things that we've kind of identified as people that we might be interested in approaching, but then also kind of, you know, sending some of the, you know, the information out and just kind of explaining what it is, you know, the scope of what it, you know, what the responsibility is and so on and so forth. And seeing, you know, if there are interested candidates that they can identify themselves. And then it really just comes down to a process of, you know, me getting to know them, kind of, you know, and making just kind of the best determination of who I think will, you know, will be the right fit, you know, at that point in time. So, yeah. So that would be something that in fairly short order would start to matriculate out. So.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so welcome, Aaliyah. There were some bus issues for volleyball, so I'm gonna check in with you on that one, and we're gonna see what we can find out about that. But we're really happy that you arrived. We saved your portion, so you get the opportunity. So we can come back to Aaliyah. Is that okay? All right. So Aaliyah, take it away.
So our prompt was, what is something that I think makes Cooper truly special? I think it's the student-teacher dynamic at Cooper. For the most part, students have a very positive relationship with the teachers, which helps make students learn things easier and feel more comfortable asking questions in class and talking to them if they need help. And with updates, trimester 2 is coming to a close, so I don't really have much to say besides that our school's volleyball team and wrestling team have had a really good year so far, and our musical's coming up and many kids are getting involved with that.
And what musical are you doing?
This year we're doing Singing in the Rain, and we're gonna find out who gets what roles tomorrow.
Awesome. It's a good one.
Do we know what dates that will be?
I'm not really sure. I think it's like 2 months from now.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They should be on the calendar already, but we just, you know, so we can look it up.
That's a
real quick.
great one. It's
Yeah,
just a-
yeah,
It's
Singing in the Rain, yeah.
It's actually very funny. So when the announcement was made, we went back and watched Singing in the Rain. So he's got a couple of kids that are performing, but if you haven't seen it, it's the greatest old movie ever to watch. And I'm so excited
Yeah,
to
it's a fun
bring
one.
something like that back. So, and to you guys that competed in solo ensemble, that was an amazing solo ensemble. But just to your point, and to wrestling, I've been to wrestling, I've been to volleyball, the energy and seeing the excitement, and you guys can confirm for me that, and having kids back in activities and kids back busy doing what they love to do, the amount of just pure unbridled joy in seeing kids back in gyms has been amazing. So congratulations to all of you for the extra stuff, but congratulations to your parents for getting you back into activities, because that's been the greatest energy ever, is seeing kids back doing what they love to do. So congratulations.
And as I noted, tomorrow is our next Superintendent Student Advisory Council meeting, and so Aaliyah will be joining us for that as well. And if we don't get a chance to talk about the bus tonight, let's connect on that tomorrow, okay? All right, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, we have now reached the public comment section of our meeting. The board will allow any individual to share a public comment for up to 3 minutes. Such comments should not include the discussion of personnel matters, which should be brought directly to the attention of the appropriate school official. During public comment, the board and administration listen to comments but may not respond to the public. Leticia, have we received any comment cards?
No, we have not.
And Mike, have we received anything online? Okay. Cass, anything written? Okay, nice and quick.
Cooper Musical is May 9th and 10th. Thank you, Leticia.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This month, we received 3 Freedom of Information requests. Conference and travel expenses for the board to approve are in the amount of $315, which includes travel expenses of 3 board members for their attendance at the 2024 EdRed Legislative Dinner on January 29th. Phil, did you have the opportunity to go over the financials?
Yes, I did. I did have several questions that were responded to. Kim, I want to thank you for jumping in on one of them as well. Just a quick observation, the amount of non-full-time people that we have to use in some of our special areas for coverage is just a tad bit alarming. And I know some of that is just because there's not people out there to hire on a full-time basis, but the cost obviously is one that we feel because of that. But no, nothing went unresponded to, and I was fine with the responses.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, does anyone need anything pulled? Okay, may I please get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Bill,
Aye.
Arlen,
Aye.
Stacy,
Yes.
Phil,
Aye.
Dagmara,
Yes.
I vote yes. Debbie?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next section of the agenda is new business. The first item is the approval of the WAN rack proposal for private fiber wide area network solution.
Very exciting, talking about fiber optics. But actually, this is really exciting. It's really a great opportunity. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike to very briefly and in layman's terms talk about what this is.
Very exciting stuff here. Thanks, Dr. Connolly. For consideration tonight is the proposal for WAN-WAC. This is for a private wide area network. This would replace our current AT&T service. As you noticed in the proposal, the construction costs are large, right? Almost 3.7 million. We're expected to be reimbursed for 100% of that, so 90% through E-rate, 5% through a state matching grant, and then 5%, another 5% through E-rate. So $3.7 million down to zero. Also, the monthly service cost is going to go from currently at $18,000 per month, currently with AT&T, down to $7,500.
Wow.
After 5 years, there's another 20% reduction down to $6,000 per month. So they have our own private fiber resilient, fully underground, which is another advantage of this, less chance of it being cut. It's a ring design, which means there's multiple points of failure and backup and redundancy. WAN-RAC, who we have proposed here, really stood out in the process. The CEO flew out from Kansas City and sat in our conference room and told me he'd have his personal cell phone if we go down, and I basically said, okay, give that to me right now. I'm going to take that and keep it close. So just the service and support that they offer, and checking references of District 54, Schaumburg 211, Deerfield 109, Park Ridge District 64, all had great things to say about them. So we're really, really excited about the proposal. It will be a large upgrade from AT&T on the service and support, which we always struggled with AT&T, and then just the resiliency of creating that maximum uptime overall for the network. The anticipated go-live date would be July of 2025, so it's going to take some time. There's a lot of permits going across railroads and townships and county permits and that. So roughly after approvals, 8 to 12 months to complete, and we're expected, like I said, July of 2025. So
Just on the day that AT&T's network went
I know,
completely
right?
kaput too, so, yeah.
We do have to say, Mike, you keep bringing us these incredible 800-foot home runs. This is phenomenally exciting, I actually tried to reach out to you earlier today to just better understanding of the whole thing, so I'll do that offline tomorrow. But thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate it, and just keep bringing us these incredible deals. It's fantastic.
Two really quick questions, Mike. You mentioned a $7,500 a month fee. Just what you provided us said $750, so is it 75?
So it gets a little confusing. 7,500 is before our E-rate reimbursement. 750 is after the 90% discount after E-rate.
So it's actually going to cost us $750 a month?
750 a month.
Okay.
We always just like to talk the large number, budget the large number in case E-rate.
Because E-rate is a federal program that every now and then gets threatened. It's
not guaranteed.
So it had subject to budget appropriation, so.
Second question actually goes along that line. In the document you provided, it made a comment about the state payment being pending final approval. Is there any concern that that's not going to go through?
No, not at this time. They've never, WANRAC and our E-rate consultant have never seen one not go through. So as long as we're in the process of the application right now, so as long as we follow the steps, it sounds like it's a done deal. So, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Stacy?
I'm familiar with these kind of projects, and these are very extensive, multi-municipality. Do they take care of most of the permitting and all of that? Is that something that you guys are gonna have to jump into and be involved in a lot of that?
Yeah, no.
That's really time consuming.
It is, yeah. And they
it's a lot.
anticipated at least 120 days for that, and they are taking care of all of that. They're going to drive and follow the fiber paths in all these locations and secure all the permits. That's built into the anticipated timeline. The longest permit is the railroad crossings, which we have 3 of in this design, so.
Yeah, well, that was gonna be my first question, because it's very complicated. I'm curious to see, as municipalities that we serve find out that we're doing this. A lot of them are talking about flipping to fiber on their own, including the one that we live in right now. So I'll be curious as you go through that process. But it is a very extensive and expensive permitting process, and it's great if they take care of all of it. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Nice
and I
job.
will
Thank
note too that, and I mentioned it in the write-up, that the speeds are starting at 10 gig, but we can throttle up to 50 at no cost increase, which is unheard of.
That's the way, that's where the world is going to, as far as large organizations that are a stressor on the greater, service. So this could be very transforming for the region, to be honest with you. Thank you very much.
No, just one other thing, Mike, could you give us a big overview of what this really means for the district in 2 lines or so?
Well,
what it means
I
for
mean,
our
we
team
have
and our
a-
buildings?
Yeah, we have a wide area network now, so it's not like we're just gaining a better network, a faster network, a more secured network, and a more scalable network where we can, increase our speed. Prior having AT&T or Comcast, your shared fiber services. Now this is our own private network that we can say that we own, and like I said, the service and support should be a lot better too. So
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Phil?
Mike, they make the claim that they would only have at the most 1 site down at a time. How do they support that claim?
So it's what's called a ring design. So if you look at the network is like a circle. So each site, we have 2 main hubs, which would be Gill and Cooper. Each school has a fiber strand going opposite directions. So if one side of if one's going into, say, Field School gets cut, the network coming around from the other loop will come back and be able to service those other schools. So yeah, there's a maximum of 1 school that could be down on a cut. It wouldn't take our whole network down like some of the old designs.
And their experience with other districts of equal or close to the same size has been that way?
Yeah, District 54, 211, District 109 just went through the same exact process a year and a half ago. I had a long discussion with them. Everybody had great things to say about WANRAC in general, so yep.
It's an amazing proposition, that's for sure.
It is. Okay. Then I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Arlen,
Aye.
Stacy,
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Dagmara?
Yes.
I vote yes. Debbie?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. The last item under new business is consideration of a TIF resolution. Dr. Allen.
So Bill alluded to this earlier in the evening. This is obviously something that Bill has been working very closely with Senator Gillespie and other legislators on. So I'm thinking it kind of put you on the spot. I didn't ask you this, but if, Bill, you want to kind of just take us through what.
I'm not used to talking in public. I don't know.
I know,
No, Ed Red for a number of years, and many of the school districts in the area have been trying to get to what we call common sense TIF reform. Senator Gillespie's been a leader in that for a number of sessions now. Senator Edley Allen out of the Grays Lake area is now jumping on board as well. One of the comments that they have made, our legislators have made, is that anytime a TIF reform bill comes out, the municipalities are right there with their opposition. Everybody's lined up. They've got their resolutions, and in they come, and they, quote, never hear anything from school districts. This is the first step of hearing something from school districts. It's difficult for us, meeting monthly, to respond to a particular bill. If a bill is dropped tomorrow, we're not going to be meeting again until the end of March. This is a more general statement saying that we support common sense TIF reform. Most of this was created by Dr. Trish Kinkata. Do I have that name right? Kinkata? Okay. Kikanda.
Kokanda, yeah.
With some general language from Ed Red that we were able to weave together in the final section 2 of talking about what we would be looking for. But primarily, we are showing our support to our legislators for common sense TIF reform that is transparent to our communities. If you recall, we talked a couple months ago about how 10% or almost 10% of our property taxes that you see on the property tax bill actually goes into a TIF countywide as opposed to the underlying taxing bodies, and to give the underlying taxing bodies more of a say in the actual creation of a TIF, that we are part of that community. And as part of that community, we should be more involved as opposed to a toothless JRB currently.
Yeah, I certainly don't oppose the idea of a common sense TIF reform proposition. This just seemed it's probably by design, it seems very general, Bill.
Yeah, well,
is it sort of akin to like an umbrella bill going through the General
There is-
Assembly, or?
This isn't in support of a particular bill right now. That's the problem, is that we, as a board that meets monthly, we have trouble approving support of a particular bill that might come down. So this is meant to be a more general statement that we support common sense TIF reform, that we would like to see it to be more transparent to our property taxpayers so that they understand what's happening. And so that when it comes time to create a TIF, we have a true seat at the table in discussing how much money might be taken, how long the TIF lasts, what it's used for, and so forth. If you note, it mentions to give the Joint Review Board actual authority to approve or disapprove. By doing that, that would allow for us, for the library districts, for the park districts, for the high school districts, to have a discussion with the municipality. What I would personally hope is to reach an IGA each time, an intergovernmental agreement, to approve it and to move it forward. But that's my personal hope. Whether that'll ever happen in my lifetime is a question.
Is it, I'm sorry, just a quick follow-up. Is it your anticipation to submit this to IESB as part of the resolution process as well?
Right now, it's going through EdRed, but we could certainly, right now, it's going through EdRed. Right now, it's going, but it certainly could go through, when I told you earlier this evening that I met with, the heads of IASB, this was part of the conversation.
Okay.
I think it's well-written, and I do understand the umbrella aspect of it, and I support that. And I would be willing to move the motion if the board is so ready.
So I'd like to make
Yeah,
a
well,
comment.
of course, yeah.
Stacy?
So I'm going to be honest with you. The way through TIF reform in our area, unfortunately, is through the Northwest Municipal Conference. And they are the ones that bang the phones when they hear about it. And so my feeling on this is very similar to the polling places, which is I don't oppose the idea, but I'm not entirely sure that an organization like the Northwest Municipal Conference wouldn't take some issue with the way it's written. And I'm not saying.
Oh, I guarantee they'll take, I will guarantee they'll take opposition to it.
I do. And so again, it's a piece of paper. As someone who we have managed to, sometimes through pulling nails, come through to some understanding and some negotiation through TIFs, but there are also many parts of the village of Wheeling that would not be developed if it was not for the TIF districts that we have. So I have pretty mixed feelings about it, because I always think there's, I don't necessarily at a time right now feel like poking the bear when there might be a better, and I'm not, you and I have had many conversations about TIFs through the years. I have mixed feelings about this, because at the end of the day, I don't always love everything that Northwest Municipal Conference does and all that, but at the end of the day, we need to have a good relationship with that particular body to move lots of things forward in many directions. And so, yes, I think before I would support like something like this, I would certainly have a conversation with our municipalities on what the fallout could.
Well,
That's
Stacey,
my position,
right.
and yeah.
Well, just to tell you, in terms of conversations.
Yeah.
The conversations have mostly been with the Illinois Municipal League.
Yeah.
And their position is, we will not accept any TIF reform of any kind whatsoever.
Yeah.
The last proposal that Senator Gillespie had discussed, as you know, a TIF one passes for 23 years, the municipality could request a 13-year extension. To grant that extension, it's got to go through the legislature, and the underlying taxing bodies must approve it. That approval is not law. That is custom and practice.
Agreed.
Senator Gillespie's last bill was simply to change custom and practice to law. It would not have changed a single thing in current practice. And the Municipal League said no. So in terms of speaking to the conference, Ann Gillespie, the rest of the legislators will be speaking to the Municipal League, to the various branches of the Municipal League. And the goal is to reach something. I'm a real estate attorney by training. I like TIF districts.
Yeah.
But they have to be properly created. And that's all.
You and I have had many spirited conversations over TIFs through the years. Again, it's a resolution. I'm not sure again, all of those conversations, and I had a delightful conversation with Ann over the summer about it. Again, I'm just gonna go on the record saying I have mixed feelings about it, as at the end of the day, we love our municipalities and we need them, and they, in many ways, need TIF reform. They need TIFs and they need TIF reform. That's all.
Anyone else?
So let me there was a time in our area, and you remember, you were here, when something like 60% of Wheeling was TIFed, and we were getting clobbered. And it wasn't until Greg Kletecki, a former teacher and mayor of Wheeling, realized the extent of what was happening, you'll remember, and stepped forward with a off-the-record, non-legal, not in the requirements plan to help us out by making money available to us that he didn't have to and the village didn't have to. So there's clearly a problem. There's clearly a reason to try to fight for reform. And if we don't fight for reform and don't walk the walk, we can never talk the talk. So we just need to keep forging ahead, in my opinion. And I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Stacy?
No.
Phil?
Aye.
Dagmara?
Yes.
I vote yes. Debbie?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Arlen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And the next thing on the agenda is the announcement of our next regular meeting is going to be held on Thursday, March 21st, here at 7 o'clock. Now we will be recessing the meeting and going into closed session. May I please get a motion?
Second.
Phil?
Me? Aye.
No. Dagmara?
Yes.
I vote yes. Debbie?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. We will not be taking any action after